Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara. In Indian tradition, teachers are extolled to the highest. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm and heartful welcome to all the big hearts to our webinar today on this auspicious Teachers' Day. I'm Aparna. Along with my co-host Anjali, would like to wish you all a very happy Teachers' Day. Being a teacher is a great privilege. Having one is a greatest blessing. It is so wonderful to see the overwhelming responses that you all have given us. We have around 8,000 plus participants who have registered for this webinar and have joined us through the Zoom and YouTube link. We have so many educationists joining us today, teachers, principals, school management officials, and many more. We also have a lot of parents and students joining us as well.
That's great to hear, Aparna. So, in addition to that, we also have three very distinguished guests with us today. We are so honored to introduce our esteemed panelists to all of you. The first panelist I'd like to introduce is Mr. Priyank Kanungo. He's the chairperson of National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, NCPCR, for the Government of India, New Delhi. I'd like to tell you a little bit about him. So Priyank sir earlier worked as a member from the year 2015 to 2018 in NCPCR under the Ministry of Women and Child Development, um, and looked after the education division of the commission. And in order to achieve the mandate of NCPCR, he is also closely monitoring for the effective implementation for the right to education, the JJ Act, the POXO Act, Child Labor Act, etc. And in above context, he is actively involved in undertaking various consultations with stakeholders on regional and national level and undertaken various studies and special investigations in the field of child rights. We welcome you, Mr. Priyank sir, and we are so honored that you have joined us.
Thank you.
Next, we would like to introduce Ms. Sandhya Rani, IPOS, Commissioner, former Department of School Education, Andhra Pradesh. When she worked as a Commissioner School Education, she implemented several academic reforms and technological innovations leading to improvements in government schools, including quality teacher training, improved assessments and student learning levels, and introduction of happiness curriculum, digital classrooms, personalized adaptive learning, and more. We are so happy that you're joining us, ma'am. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Our third panelist is Mr. Bhavin Shah. He's the CEO of Education World and Parents World. They are India's #1 education and parent education magazine. He's also the director of Bees India, which is Education World's and India's #1 education news and analysis magazine. His mission statement is to make education as the #1 item on the national agenda through public pressure. Well, this has actually raised a lot of awareness and it has successfully brought it to the center stage. They have also incepted India's first mechanism to rank schools. It's a pleasure to welcome you, sir. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anjali, Aparna, and Sandhya ji and Priyank ji. And Teachers' Day greetings to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Before we get started, we would like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. We'll keep this session interactive in two ways. One is for you to write your comments or questions in the chat option. We will try to address them later. Secondly, we'll be interacting through Menti questions. For this, we request everyone to please pick up your phones or go to the browser on your laptops and type the following address: www.menti.com. Once again, it's www.menti.com. Once you have entered the address, please type the following code: 47661. Once again, the code is 47661, which will be visible on your screens in a short while.
So, are you able to see the first question now, everyone? I hope you've seen it by now. Yes, that's the one. The first,
Excellent. So we'll start with the first Menti question. What does the word celebration mean to you? Once again, what does the word celebration mean to you?
so as you know, this word celebration is such a happy and joyful word for me. Sometimes we use it to honor a person, and sometimes just to be joyful about an event. For me, I feel Teachers' Day is like an utsav, where we honor the efforts of our dear educators, dear teachers. We are constantly working with young minds. They are our raison d'etre. It is our sincere wish that they should be empowered and enlightened, and they should learn instinctively. Most importantly, we want them to be guided by their hearts. Is it not essential to appreciate these efforts and to celebrate them? Yes, it most definitely is. It's great to see the nice comments that y'all have put in. It's joy to celebrate together. The mind and heart should be in high happiness, happiness and togetherness. Aparna, and the really nice responses. I'm quite happy to see. And
They are
I think
excellent.
the common thread throughout is joy, right? Everyone is talking about joy, isn't it?
See, it's joy being together, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, looks like that.
That resonates with most of the phrases
Absolutely.
that they have put in.
Yes, I think about 172 of them have 176 have responded. That's wonderful. Yes, keep the
The number
comments
just
coming.
is increasing.
Yeah, communicate to all, engage all, distribute our feelings, share our feelings, distribute our feelings. What a nice way to put it. Happy phases, joy of accomplishment. Absolutely. I think this year, teachers, we are feeling that extra sense of accomplishment because what a learning curve we've had this year, isn't it? Starting from March to now, the way we have learned, we use this crisis as an opportunity, and all of us have upped our digital skills. So there is a real sense of accomplishment. Absolutely right. And we need to celebrate that. So remember persons and things, having a collective joy, getting together, being joyful, togetherness. Lovely, lovely answers, dear teachers. Thank you for this beautiful sharing. Excitement and happiness. Yes, yes, absolutely. We really need to give ourselves, celebrate ourselves, and give ourselves a pat on the back for the wonderful job that has been done now. Absolutely, dear teachers. Really nice responses.
It is so great to see such an overwhelming feedback from them on
Yeah,
account of celebration.
yes. So it's great to interact this way, isn't it, through Menti? So many of us together through this wonder of digital technology. We are actually able to communicate with each other. We are able to get your thoughts as to what you want to say. I think it's really wonderful. Happy, joyful, a festival, peace all around, wonderful, coming together and to be joyful together. Absolutely. Thank you. I think should we take few more responses, Aparna? What do you think? Or should we move on?
Sure.
Yeah.
Give a
Yes.
minute and then we can.
Yeah. Let's take another minute because teachers are taking that time to put their thoughts into words and sharing it with us. We will really be happy to see what they have. It's a great achievement. This is a happy moment for all of us. It's a movement of joyful event. Very nice. Joyful, togetherness, happiness. Yes, wonderful. Happy, and someone is feeling speechless with happiness. I like that. So happy that I'm feeling speechless. Lovely. Joyful company. Yes, we all feel joyful when we celebrate together. What fun is it if we're just going to celebrate by ourselves in our house, right? So this is what makes it even more joyful when we come together with our hearts this way. Lovely.
See the inner connection with the potential in the heart.
Absolutely. That's such a nice way to put it. Fabulous. Okay, lovely. That was really nice. Giving importance to the person, right? To the person or the event. And who is the person in question now? It is all of us teachers. Yes, we are the person of the moment, and this event is for us. Absolutely. Being together to be happy. Yes, great. Lovely. Okay, shall we? I think there are so many of us that probably we may not have time to see everyone's responses, right? So, shall we move to the next part? Aparna, what do you feel?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, okay. So, teachers, we all play such a critical role in educating and shaping our children who are the future leaders of this country. And Heartfulness through different platforms enables teachers to accomplish this goal. So, would you like to tell everyone a bit about Heartfulness, Aparna?
Sure. Thank you, Anjali. We at Heartfulness are so happy to bring this webinar to all of you. Maybe some of you might wonder about this word heartfulness after Anjali just spoke about it. What is heartfulness? Heartfulness is a way of living by and from the heart. It helps us regulate the mind and purify the heart through simple set of tools. These tools are experiential in nature. When it comes to practical application of tools, a speck of experience is definitely worth a ton of knowledge. So instead of only talking about meditation, we will actually have the opportunity to experience it today at the end of the session. There are enough evidences that meditation tools that Heartfulness offers has impacted teachers and students alike to enhance their self-esteem and become more balanced individuals. Our global guide, Sri Kamlesh Patel, affectionately called as Daji, has high regards for teachers as a community. It is a matter of great joy that he will be joining us later during this session to interact with all of us. What do you say, Anjali?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so happy about this. I can't contain my joy. So, dear friends, as we know, this year of 2020, we have been experiencing sea changes in education system like never before. And this has put us teachers in a constant state of adaptation, which we have really embraced wholeheartedly and with enthusiasm. Many of us, with years of experience, have had to actually press the reset button, so to speak. In March, many of us were not even comfortable with technology, and yet today, so many of us are conducting our online classes so comfortably, isn't it? So, learn, unlearn, and relearn seems to be the mantra, and it certainly takes a big heart to accomplish it. Well, now we know you're very eager to know what our esteemed panelists have to say about this topic. So, dear friends, without further delay, let us commence our panel discussion. Our first question is for Mr. Priyank Kanungo. Priyank sir, आप NCPCR पहल पूर्ण देश में चला रही हैं। क्या आप हमारे साथ ये साझा करें कि किस प्रकार ये पहल बच्चों की रक्षा करेगा, उन्हें आगे बढ़ाएगा तथा हमें बच्चों के अधिकारों के बारे में भी बताएगा।
देखिए, नेशनल कमीशन फॉर प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ चाइल्ड राइट्स एक कमीशन है, एक आयोग है जिसको 2005 में भारत की संसद ने एक कानून बनाया, विच इज कमीशन फॉर प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ चाइल्ड राइट्स एक्ट। और उस कानून के परिपालन में पहली बार इन ईयर 2007 कमीशन वाज कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड। सो ये एक नेशनल कमीशन होता है और नेशनल कमीशन के साथ साथ हमारे काउंटर पार्ट्स होते हैं, वो स्टेट कमीशंस हैं। देश की सभी स्टेट्स में इस वक्त स्टेट कमीशंस काम कर रहे हैं। अभी जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख नए यूटीज बने हैं, वहाँ पे अभी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रोसेस में है, बाकी सभी जगह कमीशन कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड। ये कमीशन दो काम करते हैं मुख्य रूप से। पहला, शिकायतें सुनना और उनका रिड्रेसल करना, बच्चों की शिकायतें, और दूसरा, सरकारों को पॉलिसीज में क्या सुधार होना चाहिए वो पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशन सजेस्ट करना, और इसके साथ साथ अलग अलग कानूनों की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की मॉनिटरिंग करना। तो जैसे जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट है, किशोर न्याय अधिनियम 2015 में अभी अमेंडेड होके एक नए रूप में आया, आप लोगों ने सुना होगा उसके बारे में। खासतौर पे जब चिल्ड्रन होम्स का रजिस्ट्रेशन की बात होती है या उसमें जुवेनाइल्स की एज की बात होती है, तब ये कानून काफी चर्चा में। उस कानून के इम्प्लीमेंटेशन से संबंधित मॉनिटरिंग और ग्रीवियंस redressal, ये काम कमीशन करता है। पॉक्सो एक्ट के बारे में आप सभी ने सुना होगा, प्रिवेंशन ऑफ चिल्ड्रन फ्रॉम सेक्सुअल ऑफेंसेस। उस कानून की भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की निगरानी और उसकी शिकायतों का, उसके नॉन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की शिकायतों का भी निवारण जो है वो कमीशन करता है। इसी तरह शिक्षा का अधिकार कानून 2009, राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट, उसकी भी मॉनिटरिंग और ग्रीवियंस redressal का काम कमीशन से। तो ये तो तीन मुख्य कानून हुए जिसकी हम लोग निगरानी करते हैं, जिनके ग्रीवियंसेस का redressal। इसके साथ साथ चाइल्ड लेबर से जुड़ी हुई प्रॉब्लम्स के लिए हमारा एक डिवीजन है, एक डेडिकेटेड मेंबर चाइल्ड लेबर को देखते हैं, एक डेडिकेटेड मेंबर चाइल्ड हेल्थ एंड न्यूट्रिशन, ये प्रॉब्लम्स को देखते हैं। डिसेबल्ड बच्चों की जो प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं उनकी कंप्लेंट्स को सुनते हैं और उसका रिड्रेसल करते हैं। मैं आपको एजुकेशन बता ही चुका हूँ। इसके साथ साथ 18-19 अलग अलग कानून हैं देश में जो सीधे सीधे बच्चों से संबंधित है, जैसे चाइल्ड मैरिज एक्ट है, प्लांटेशन एंड लेबर एक्ट है। तो ये अलग अलग तरीके के जो 18-19 कानून हैं, हामा है, एडॉप्शन, हिंदू एडॉप्शन रेगुलेशन एक्ट, तो इस तरीके के जो कानून हैं उन सबके संबंधित शिकायतों के काम के लिए एक लॉ रिलेटेड टू चिल्ड्रन करके डिवीजन होता है, उसका भी एक डेडिकेटेड मेंबर होता है। मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंटली हमारे पास एक चाइल्ड सोशियोलॉजी और साइकोलॉजी के लिए भी डिवीजन होता है, और एक डेडिकेटेड मेंबर वो काम हमारे देखते हैं, और उसके लिए हम लोग देश के काफी सारे इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ भी काम करते हैं, काफी सारे इंडिविजुअल्स के साथ भी काम करते हैं। हार्टफुलनेस के साथ हम लोग परीक्षा के दौरान बच्चों को जो स्ट्रेस होता है उस पर पिछले 2 साल से लगातार काम कर रहे हैं। तो ये कमीशन के मोटा मोटी काम होते हैं। हमने जो कमीशन के कामों में परिवर्तन लाया है वो, पहले ये कमीशन साल भर में कोई 5,000 शिकायतों का निष्पादन करता था। हमने पिछले 1 साल में इसकी एफिशिएंसी बढ़ाई है और अब कमीशन लगभग 35,000-38,000 शिकायतों के निवारण का काम कर रहा है। तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि शिकायतें बढ़ी हैं, इसका मतलब ये है कि पहले बच्चों की समस्याएं, देखिए हमारे जो सबसे बड़े स्टेक होल्डर हैं वो बच्चे हैं, जिसके लिए हम हैं वो बच्चे, और हमको ये मानना होगा कि बच्चे हम तक नहीं आ सकते। तो आपको भी ये सारी बातें बताने का और बाकी सब लोगों को भी बोर करने का मेरा जो मकसद है वो ये है कि लोग कंप्लेंट्स करने के लिए अवेयर हो, और यही कर करके हमने 5,000 से 35,000 तक पहुंचे। और ये कंप्लेंट्स को हम इश्यूज की तरह लेते हैं। बहुत छोटी छोटी प्रॉब्लम्स बच्चों की होती हैं, किसी के जरा से इंटरवेंशन से अगर सॉल्व हो जाती है तो बच्चों की बड़ी मदद होती है। तो ये एक काम हम लोगों का है जो हमारा मुख्य काम है। दूसरा, पॉलिसीज में कहीं कोई इंटरवेंशन की जरूरत होती है वो हम सरकारों को वक्त वक्त पे बताते रहते हैं। जो नए इनिशिएटिव हम लोग शुरू कर रहे हैं खासतौर पे बच्चों के लिए, मैं एक चीज का यहाँ पे जरूर जिक्र करना चाहूंगा। हम लोग एक ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार कर रहे हैं जो टेली काउंसलिंग की तरह काम करेगा, केवल डेडिकेटेडली उन बच्चों के लिए जो कोविड अफेक्टेड, जो या तो कोविड पॉजिटिव हैं या जिनके पेरेंट्स कोविड पॉजिटिव होने के कारण बच्चे आइसोलेटेड। तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि ये इस महीने में शुरू हो जाए। और इस सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात देश में जो है, जो आप लोग ज्यादा अच्छे से समझ सकते हैं, हमारे यहाँ काउंसलर्स, क्वालिफाइड काउंसलर्स की कमी है देश में। कई सालों से उनको तैयार करने पर काम नहीं हुआ, लेकिन हमने पिछले 2-2.5 महीने लगातार मेहनत करके कोई 2 दर्जन लोग हमको तैयार हुए हैं वॉलेंट्री मदद करने के लिए, और निम्हांस के साथ उनका ट्रेनिंग भी शुरू हुआ है, और वो सब प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, काउंसलर्स हैं। और अगर और कोई भी हमको सुओ मोटो मदद करना चाहें तो प्लीज आप अप्रोच कर सकते हैं। हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा बच्चों की मदद करना चाहते हैं। तो एक तो ये इनिशिएटिव है। दूसरा इनिशिएटिव एक और जो प्रोबेबली हमारा अक्टूबर तक शुरू होगा, वो अडॉप्ट चिल्ड्रंस सेफ्टी इन स्कूल, अ डिजिटल ऑनलाइन प्रोग्राम फॉर टीचर्स। देश में एक समय पर 22-23 अलग अलग गाइडलाइंस होती हैं बच्चों की स्कूल सेफ्टी इंश्योर करने के लिए। कमीशन ने उन सभी गाइडलाइंस का कंपाइलेशन करके एक मैनुअल में उनको कन्वर्ट किया, जिससे कि उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन और मॉनिटरिंग आसान हो। अब इस मैनुअल को भी देखिए, बहुत सारे टीचर्स हमारे साथ हैं, मैं पूरी जिम्मेदारी से एक बात कह सकता हूँ, मैं भी पिछले लगभग 20 साल से टीचर्स के साथ काम कर रहा हूँ। और अगर मैं जाके किसी टीचर को ये कहता हूँ कि आइए मैं आपको एक ट्रेनिंग दूंगा, आइए मैं आपको एक ओरिएंटेशन दूंगा, आइए मैं बताऊंगा कि आपको अपने बच्चों के साथ जिनको आप पढ़ाते हैं रोज कैसे डील करना, तो ये बकवास है। क्योंकि एक टीचर को कोई भी आउटसाइडर जाके समझा सके, आई डोंट थिंक कि वो इतना आसान होता है। जिन बच्चों के साथ वो दिन रात खुद डील करते हैं, उनके स्वभाव के बारे में, उनको समझाने के बारे में, किसी भी आउटसाइडर के लिए पॉसिबल भी नहीं है। और वो 2-3 घंटे के जो ओरिएंटेशन होते हैं बहुत इफेक्टिव नहीं। हमने कोशिश की है कि ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म बनाकर ये मैनुअल को डिजिटली हमने कन्वर्ट किया है, मूक्स में, प्रेजेंटेशंस में, और वो टीचर्स के पास है। टीचर्स कैन एनरोल। हमको इसमें कई सारी सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की मदद मिली और उन लोगों ने ये तैयार किया ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ मैनुअल। तो ये भी थोड़े दिन में अवेलेबल हो जाएगा, जिससे कि टीचर्स को ये आसानी हो जाएगी। उनको जहां जैसी प्रॉब्लम आएगी वो लॉग इन करके उस प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन ढूंढ सकते हैं। वो सजेस्टिव फॉर्म्स में है, उसमें एक्ट्स बहुत सारे ऐसे हैं जो सजेस्टिव फॉर्म्स में है। जैसे चाइल्ड सेक्सुअल एब्यूज को लेकर के टीचर्स का एक बड़ा रोल है, और उसमें जो हम लोगों को प्रॉब्लम दिखी देश भर में, वो ये दिखी कि टीचर के सामने 2 प्रश्न होते हैं उस वक्त, एक तो वो बच्चा और एक उसका इंस्टीट्यूट। तो कई बार बहुत सी जगह ये देखने में आया कि टीचर्स अपने मैनेजमेंट को तो बता देते हैं कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ है, लेकिन वो पुलिस तक नहीं पहुंच पाता। तो ये वायलेशन ऑफ एक्ट है, ये पुलिस तक पहुंचना ही चाहिए। तो ये सजेस्टिव फॉर्म्स में ऐसी बहुत सारी छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जो अवेयरनेस जनरेट करने के लिए है। तो ये एक बड़ा काम हो सकता है। हम लोग ट्रैफिकिंग पर काम करते हैं, प्रिवेंशन के लिए काम करते हैं, रेस्क्यूज के लिए हम लोग मदद करते हैं, जो लोग फील्ड में काम करते हैं उसकी। हमने देश के सारे चिल्ड्रन होम्स का इंस्पेक्शन कंडक्ट करवाया है। देश में हमारे पास जो रिकॉर्ड है उसके अकॉर्डिंग 7,000 से ज्यादा चिल्ड्रन होम्स हैं, CCIs, ऑर्फनेजेस। हमने सभी का इंस्पेक्शन करवा के सबका डेटाबेस मेंटेन किया हुआ है। तो ये सारे कमीशन के काम होते हैं जो यहाँ पे आप लोगों के बीच में बताना मुझे लगा जरूरी है, तो मैंने
सर थैंक यू। ये जान के इतनी खुशी हुई कि आपने कितना गहरी सोच है इसके पीछे, और कितना आप बच्चों के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, कितने कितने ज्यादा इनिशिएटिव्स है। और आज बताने का आपका जो मतलब सबसे टीचर्स को अवेयरनेस दिलाने का जो था, कि ताकि वो भी इसमें शामिल हो, वो भी इस काम को बिल्कुल कोऑपरेशन करे इस काम में। थैंक यू सो मच सर। बहुत ही अच्छा लगा ये सुन के कि कितने 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 अलग अलग इनिशिएटिव्स, लॉज हैं हमारे बच्चों के लिए। थैंक यू सर। अपर्णा, क्या आप अगला सवाल पूछना चाहोगी?
जरूर। धन्यवाद अंजलि। Our next question is for Ms. Sandhya ma'am. It's been said by Aristotle, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Please let us know how, in your opinion, should teachers mold their training to be in alignment to this statement, ma'am?
Thank you, Aparna, and very glad to be on this forum and share my thoughts with all of you. First and foremost, my heartiest greetings on the Teachers' Day. It's really a very, very important day for the schools, students, and teachers, and a very exciting programs normally are held on this day. But unfortunately, because of COVID, most of the schools haven't opened. But I'm sure teachers all over the world, all over India, are eagerly connecting to their students in different ways. My heartiest greetings to educators, teachers, management, and the children. Coming to the question you raised, Aparna, I think whether it is 2000 years ago when Aristotle has made this significant observation, or as late as 21st century, both training the heart and training the mind are so very critical for developing a very integrated human being. As they say, the most brilliant mind can probably execute a very efficient project of decimating human beings. But it's only the heart, it's only the feeling and the emotion and the human connectivity that can actually bring in compassion, feeling of oneness, of inclusiveness. And neither the brilliant mind without all these humane qualities, not just very soft human qualities without the brilliance of a trained mind can really bring out an integrated human being. And that's why I think definitely parents and teachers have a very key role to play in molding the integrated personality of children or development of them as very holistic human beings. But I think more than parents, it's teachers who play a very key role, and hence teacher training is a very, very critical component of this whole thing. Definitely the preschool training that teachers undergo, which actually teaches them the psychology of children, the pedagogy of teaching, the various skills and methods of teaching at different levels and different courses, or even the in-service trainings that teachers undergo, whether in private schools or in government schools, prepare them to become teachers. I put teachers in inverted commas because in my mind, in my belief, teaching is just not a job. It's not a mechanical engineer who will know how the machine works. Teaching profession is something more than being good at your profession. You could teach mathematics, you could teach science in a very interesting and help the child understand the concepts. But to really bring out a good human being, to really bring out a integrated student, integrated human being, you need something more than just being a good math teacher. And I think the training that a teacher undergoes only brings you to that level. A lot of investment of time and effort needs to be made by the teacher in improving their skills, in improving their knowledge and their abilities. But more important is to make their teaching child-centric. It's a very commonly used word, but I think it's a very, very important thing. It's not so much the training, but how you apply this training in a day-to-day school environment where you're more concerned about finishing the syllabus or taking care of administrative responsibilities and completing them, or helping the school conduct extracurricular activities. In all these things, generally you lose sight of for whom are schools meant, for whom are we meant to be there. And we're all fulfilling all these adult functions of being a teacher, but somehow, sometimes, rather most often, we lose sight of the student or the child. And bringing back in a constant effort that the teacher makes to put the child at the center of her world, at the center of her teaching, is what is the most important application of the training a teacher undergoes. And that's where it's only an individual effort. And how does that application show? Because teaching is a very, very challenging job. It's a very lonely job also. You're lost in your own job, in your own subject, in your own small schools. And the more remote and rural the school is, the more farther away you are from a lot of learning circles. But fortunately, due to technology, a lot of online resources are available, a lot of experience sharing platforms are available. And while training oneself, really connecting at the human level to the student, showing interest in where the child is coming from, the socio-economic background of the child, the concerns that the children are bringing to the class, making classroom more inclusive, not just giving all time to the most intelligent or the most active child, but drawing all children into the class. Many times, most often, we remember the teachers uh, who influenced us, not so much from the context of the subject they taught, but the human connectivity they felt with us. And I always recall my mathematics teacher, not because of the tables he taught me way back in school, but the way he made the whole maths look so exciting. Never mind that I am a very math challenged person, but how exciting he could make that subject and how he made it related to me. That's what exciting. Or my political science teacher who brought the whole world into the classroom and said how policy changes our lives and how we can play a role in a very positive manner. So it is connecting to the child, understanding their socio-economic background that they're coming from, listening to the emotion and the excitement in the voice of the child, drawing a silent child into becoming more active, appealing to their heart and their senses and being sensitive to them. I think these are the trainings that the teacher has to personally undergo and apply. One last thing I'd also like to say is whether it was 2000 years ago when Aristotle has mentioned that this is so critical, both heart and mind, or when we learn recently, you are hearing a lot about socio emotional learning. What we tried doing was actually happiness curriculum what Delhi government has introduced, what Andhra Pradesh government has introduced in schools. I remember an incident, one teacher told us that Kadapa is one district in Andhra Pradesh. One day a parent came to class and he sat through the class, and after the class he told the teacher, I just wanted to know what's happening in this school. My child is behaving strangely. So the teacher asked him why, and he said, since yesterday, he's telling me, thank you, daddy, for bringing me this. Thank you, mommy, for doing this for me. Thank you for buying me this. He's repeatedly thanking for something that I do in a very normal course. Then the teacher realized the previous day's class was about gratitude and expressing gratitude to people who made difference to your life, and the child actually practicing at home, deeply touched. It means that these socio-emotional skills can be taught. Children can be actually made to be more sensitive to others, to collaborate with others. And this is where a teacher training can really help. And it's worth for teachers to put that effort and time in their own training and applying their training in a typical classroom environment or in a typical school environment, and develop this both mind and heart of the children. In fact, today a lot of teacher greetings have come, and one of the best things that I liked is I just wanted to read out to this group. It was saying the three things, and it really kind of connected me. I'm so sorry, I'm looking for it. It says a true teacher is someone who ignites. Sorry, I don't know where I. Sorry, I'm not, who inspires hope, who ignites imagination, and who ingrains love for learning. And all these are connected to teacher being a good human being, having a heart to connect to the child and help them develop their mind and heart. And that's how I see it. And a whole lot of training without applying it and connecting to the child will really not take children anywhere. I really wish all our teachers will develop this and apply that in their regular day-to-day school and class environment. These are my thoughts on this.
That was beautiful, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing that. It was with such a heart-touching example that you gave. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful answer. Your answer actually aligns so well with what Priyank sir was also mentioning about the bringing in the awareness and training which plays a very critical and vital role in teachers providing that holistic environment for the child to develop. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. I'm sure all our heartful teachers in the audience here today will be in complete agreement with you. Through our HFN education programs, we encourage our teachers to become more and more heartful in their approach to education. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again.
Thank you.
Over to you, Anjali.
Okay, thanks, Aparna. My next question is for Mr. Bhavin Shah. Sort of famous saying goes, never stop learning because life never stops teaching. So this is applicable in every stage of our life. Can you give us teachers and educators some practical tips on how we can all be flexible, lifelong learners in the light of the current situation?
Thank you, Anjali. Once again, namaste to everyone, and uh, Teachers' Day greetings to all the participants and panelists. In fact, sympathies also during on this day to teachers for a very important reason that COVID has not only caught all of us a surprise, but schools and particularly the private schools and the budget schools and the teachers who are working day in, day out hard. It's a very sorry stage today where millions of teachers are struggling for their livelihood. So sympathies to them, and I'm sure with all positivity, government is going to hear the appeal because today not many movement, all teachers have joined together so that their plea is heard and the fees and a lot of the salary issue which is going on in this sector is resolved soon. Coming back to Anjali, your point being where learning is like lifelong and it's everywhere. What better example than COVID itself, where everyone has caught by surprise and teachers have rose up to the occasion, and so is the students. You mentioned very important line called as, you wanted to hear some practical aspect that what teachers can do, which is very important, because it's not necessary that the big jargons are going to be solving everyone's problem, but it's the practical approach which is going to be solving our problems. And see, we have already seen the atom and molecules formula has never ever worked against nature. So embracing what's nature is trying to connect is a very important lesson that not only teachers but each and every of the human race has found in this time. We have advanced technologically, we have advanced to each and every phase of our inventions, and scientists have been working day in day out, but we just saw that how things could be kept on a standstill when nature has to do its own will. We have to surrender for it, and we have to go a little bit more deeper in our education pattern, because it is deeply linked the way we are going to bring up our society. By which I think so some of the things which I feel that could be practically implemented, or the way you are trying to ask, saying what are the tips. There are many, but I would pick up some of them which I've been networking with schools and I've been hearing about them, is very importantly about adaptability to the situation. See, what has happened is the way everyone has been, like, overnight, they have to think now what next, or how the next day is going to be. Teachers probably have to live their way of pattern of teaching and adapt to the new way. And I think so the biggest thing which teachers have adopted is technology, because technology has come as a savior during this time. And technology in whichever way. Now, the practical way is, it's not necessary that a rural school has to copy what an urban school is doing. And that's the larger mistake which many of the schools or teachers have been trying to do, is to directly copy what others are doing. I think so. This is a very important message, that a requirement of that particular school or that particular learning community one has to adapt that how you are going to convey education to your stakeholders, which includes very importantly in this kind of a scenario is also communications with parents. See, because as a mentor, you have to use a parent's ability also to collaborate with teaching learning process. And this is where teachers have to think through that practically the important stakeholder, which are the parents, you have to keep them along with you when you are deploying any kind of technology or any kind of new approach that you are trying to do. Most importantly is very basic thing where any kind of technology which is used, which probably could be a WhatsApp which has been used, please try to match the expectation or don't build over expectation. What happens is people directly link it with the learning outcome. I think so. This 4 or 5 months are not here that you directly link it saying, oh, whether the exams are going to be performed by my kid in a proper way, or what's going to happen if he's not going to scale in that so-called percent economy, where a kid of middle year who's preparing for the high school, what is going to happen to the 90% if he's not going to get it? So very importantly and practically is to match that expectation. The mental well-being, the emotional well-being is kept. I think so. Learning, you can anyway catch up in academic at any given point of time, in which I think so there is a beautiful lesson which heartfulness way, which is adopted, has to be adopted in all aspect of teaching learning. Most importantly, what I would also like to emphasize is the approach that the flexible approach that in the teaching learning every teacher has to embrace. It's not that the way you used to be having the chalk and talk way. Now your board are the screens, right? I think so. It's also important to emphasize that there is proper light, there is proper communicative skills that you have to use, because the scenario has changed. If a kid is not going to look at to you properly, probably they're disengaged. We have seen that students have gone and started making memes about the teacher, and they're sleeping over, and they are not engaged. So a new skill sets have to be brought in. Obviously that connects, and the approach of teaching learning has to change. Obviously to the mass scale students that you are going to now touch in a classroom, there are going to be new ways that you have to interact. The chat toolbox were not so much common before, because you have to have an eye-to-eye contact. So immediately now, when we are talking on Zoom, when there are WhatsApp, there are Microsoft Team meetings that are happening, one has to go through each and every processes that first teacher has to be thorough with, right? Otherwise, here immediately a student is put off, and probably you may not know also whether the student is listening to you or not, correct? So these are very important aspects that teacher has to adapt and be flexible in the approach of teaching learning. And lastly, very importantly, you touched upon a point of being a lifelong learner. I think the COVID has given us an opportunity for very importantly to impart a self-discipline and self-learning. If you yourself want to become a lifelong learner, you have to adapt to saying the inculcation of self-learning within yourself, so that because regularly when you are going to be self-learning, you are going to also inculcate this habit in the students, where self-learning is adopted. The resources that they are there with them, they try to self-learn, which this habit is going to enable them to be a lifelong learner. Because once you are a self-learner, I think so you are already a lifelong learner. So to me, as to summarize, I think so adaptability to the current need in the education, and obviously embracing technology, a flexible approach in the teaching learning process, and having a self-learning as a tool to become a lifelong learner, not only applies it to the teacher, but this inculcates having a habit to the next generation or to the students who will be the lifelong learner. So this would be my advice to teachers.
Thank you, Bhavin sir. I think that was really very well considered and thought out tips that you've given us, especially about being adaptive, flexible, and setting the right expectations also about our online learning. And of course, being encouraging teachers to be self-learners so that they teach students also to be the same. These are really great tips, sir. Thank you. And I'm sure that they'll help us even in the long run, not only during the current COVID crisis.
And they are practical.
They are practical tips. Absolutely. Thank you, sir, for that. And Aparna, do you think we should interact with the audience a bit now? I think we haven't heard from them in a while.
Certainly. So, dear audience members, so it's time for another mentee question for you. So here it is. How would you rate the following on the scale of importance? 1 being the most, and 4 being the least important in achieving holistic development. Your options are A. Academics, B. 21st century skills such as creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. C. Hands-on practical learning. D. Co-curricular activities such as arts, sports, etc. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay. The first is 21st century skills. Most of you have selected that. That's really interesting. And the rest three are like kind of, competing with each other, look pretty even. But I think now hands-on practical learning has taken the second place. Third is academics. And the last one is co-curricular activities. And by far, the most popular one is the 21st century skills. Wow, that's really great to see.
Excellent, Anjali. Let me repeat the code once again for them. The code is 47661. Once again, the code is 47661. Thank you.
Okay, so I think
Anjali, if you allow,
seems to have. I think most of them have answered probably because I don't see anything moving anymore.
Bhavin sir, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. I just wanted to have a comment. See, I think so. For all our teachers, we need to reinstate there's this 21st century skills that we talk about. We can rephrase it and rename it as the rich Indian heritage skills. Let me remind all our teachers, if you look at the period pre-independence and if you really go back, creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration were the rich Gurukul skills that already Indians and Indian education pattern already had. In fact, if you look back, the Nalanda, Takshila, and everywhere in the Gurukul way, where all these skills were very well embedded, which was the need of that particular time. I feel the 21st century skills should be like hyphen. These are the India's rich heritage skills, which we had comprised, and we need to revive it back.
Very well said, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much not moving anymore. And so 21st century skills or ancient traditions, as sir is saying, is actually at the #1 spot.
It's
thank you, teachers, for this response.
Can I come in, Anjali?
Yes, ma'am.
It's very interesting that they have pointed out, and Bhavan made a very nice observation, recalling the traditional Gurukul way of learning. Either the heartfulness message has gone so deeply into all the participating teachers and other participants, considering that in most of the states, probably across India, the fourth point is perhaps what is most emphasized in almost all schools, whether government or private or budget schools. And it's interesting to see that it for a holistic development, the least importance is given to academics. It's really interesting. And if we can bring this kind of perspective to the way educators and planners manage or plan for schools, and teachers actually approach teaching, I think it'll be really,
Yes,
really interesting.
absolutely. It's so interesting. We who thought we are very focused on academics,
Yep.
but look at our teachers and look at their broad-minded and all-encompassing approach. It's wonderful to have this kind of audience, teacher. You all are really the heartful teachers who we have been praying for. Thank you so much for this lovely and very enlightened response. I think we can move on to the next question now. हमारा अगला सवाल है प्रियांक सर के लिए। आदरणीय सर, ये कहा जाता है कि हर बच्चा जिसे अपने आप पर भरोसा है, उसके पीछे उसके माता पिता या शिक्षक होते हैं। तो क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि एनसीपीसीआर के साथ माता पिता और शिक्षक मिलके कैसे काम करें ताकि बच्चों में तनाव और चिंता से निपटने की क्षमता पैदा हो? प्रियांक सर?
I think so. We lost the connectivity for Priyank sir.
Anjali, how about let me? I think he lost connectivity and.
Okay, great. So we can move to the next question. Yeah.
So Sandhya ma'am, I have a question for you. Arise, awake, and rest not till the goal is achieved. These were inspirational words spoken by revered Swami Vivekananda. But how do we find this goal which gives purpose to our lives? What is the role of a teacher in helping children find passion and purpose in life?
Sandhya ma'am has to unmute.
Sandhya ma'am?
Sandhya ma'am is mute, I think.
Sorry. Okay.
There.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's a very interesting question and very energizing question. I kept thinking, what could
We are facing connectivity issue.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry, I'll come back. You know, when I kept thinking about this, it struck me. It's not easy. It's not. It's a very challenging thing to find one's purpose and passion in life, and it probably takes many years. Sometimes, when I think of Gandhiji, he was just an ordinary lawyer who went to do some pleader work in South Africa, but and probably way beyond his prime, he actually discovered the purpose and the passion for justice, for fairness, for non-violence, and he led a whole nation fight for its freedom. But Gandhiji was already probably 50, 60 years old when he actually came to realize what was the purpose of his life. And deeply realize his own spiritual search in the process. Similarly, when you actually think of entrepreneurs, Henry Ford, he was way past 60 years before his whole automobile assembly line was discovered or he got credited. Often we hear about Colonel Sanders. He did all kinds of jobs before he floated the successful Kentucky Fried Chicken, if you remember. In fact, I remember a beautiful story. It's a real lifestyle story. This is about John Goddard. I don't know how many of you heard about him. It's a very, very inspiring story, and I have read it sometime in 2001. It always stayed back in my mind and heart. John Goddard was an American. He died at the age of 88 years, but he was a student like all of us. In 1940, when he was 15 years old, he made a list of 127 things that he will do before he died. And believe it or not, he did 120 of them. He accomplished 120 of them before he died. And they're all fantastic aspirations, fantastic ambitions. That's how big he dreamt as a child. And he really found his purpose, and he determinedly pursued that purpose and passion in his life. And you know, he circumnavigated the earth. He walked all across the Nile. He climbed probably all the mountains. He learned many languages that he wanted to. Apparently, he retraced the journeys of Alexander the Great, Marco Polo, and he read the entire Encyclopedia of Britannica. Amazing guy. He also did very ordinary things. He got married. It was in his list. He wanted to get married, and he begot 5 children. He wrote articles for National Geography. You must read. It's one of the most inspiring life story, life of Liz that I've read. And in fact, there are 5 lessons or 5 things that he wished he passed down. And I thought for a teacher, helping children to find their passion and purpose in life, these 5 things are beautiful lighthouses which you can nudge and push the child towards. One is dream big. We can accomplish as much as we really dream. I think that's what Abdul Kalam also has said, our Honorable President Abdul Kalam. Second thing he said was, write down your goals, what you want to be, how do you want to make them real, how permanent. It'll actually help you to be consistent in following it up, in pursuing it. Third one he says is lift up others. He believed that he learned something from every person he met and sought to share his own gifts with them. Fourth one he says is love everyone. Be compassionate and loving to all the world's creatures, human, animal, nature. And the fifth one he says is live true to your principles. Be brave and adventurous. Embrace life into the fullest. I thought these are the 5 beautiful messages, and I think that's how teachers can actually help the children find passion and purpose. If they can actually facilitate children realize what they want to do, to explore, to try, to fail, to help them to overcome the disappointments, to build that resilience in them. This is the process of actually discovering passion and really the purpose of life. And as I was saying earlier, igniting the imagination and making the children, in fact, what Bhavan mentioned, lifelong learning. If a teacher can infuse this in a child, it will be a gift for a lifetime, and the child can be a continuous learner. And also helping the child retain its curiosity. I mean, greatest discoveries have come out of that kind of curious, exploratory approach. And I'm sure these greatest explorers and inventors have been inspired by teachers very early in their life. In fact, the earlier question you had asked and the answers that came, again, it's a very interesting thing. Most of the school systems are focused on prioritizing academic achievements. Of course, these participants in this webinar have strongest voice, gave the first, the importance to the 21st century skills of creativity, critical learning, and collaborative working, communicating. And I think these will teach actually the children how to find their purpose and their passion. And teachers can actually mentor these students in the process of gaining talent and skills. And sticking in a consistent manner to an interest that they have developed. But I think I would like to also say with a word of caution. Particularly, I come from, I believe very strongly in public education systems, and in public education institutions, children come from all socioeconomic background. And the moment they leave school, many of them get into some low-paid jobs, or some perhaps pursue their higher education and achieve higher degrees, which will give them better opportunities in life. But even if a child is coming from a challenging socioeconomic background, a teacher can actually motivate such a child to, I mean, can be sensitive enough and motivate that kind of a child to give its best, whatever they're doing. You may be a farmer, you can be a welder, you can be a plumber, you know, or a mason, or you can be a mechanic, electrician, or you can be a doctor or an engineer or an astronaut. You can be an entrepreneur, but doing your best and making them quality conscious, whatever you do. I think that's much more significant and important, and a commitment to quality for lifelong. Um, and to achieve and to contribute to something bigger than what their own immediate lives are. If we can infuse these qualities into the children, and teachers have different ways. In fact, one of the first and foremost ways is being passionate about their own work, being enthusiastic about their own teaching, and how involved you are in your work directly gives the message to the child how passionate he or she can be in finding their purpose. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for teachers. Generations of students pass their thresholds, and they could handhold them, mentor them, support them, and help them find their meaning and purpose. Ultimately, to create common good and build a better.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was
Yeah.
really motivational story that you shared with us. Uh, Dear friends, as I mentioned earlier, we are very happy to announce our global guide for heartfulness, Sri Kamlesh Patel, lovingly known as Daji, who has just joined us. Good evening and pranams, Daji.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Aparna. Good to
Sir.
see Bhavin after a long, long
Yes,
time,
sir.
Bhavin. How are you?
Very good, sir. Very good, sir. Thank you very much.
Great, great. I'm meeting this gentleman, Priyank.
Daji, we have
Namaskar.
three esteemed panelists who have
Yes,
been interacting with us. Mr.
Sanjay.
Mr.
Namaste,
Priyank,
Daji. How are you? Very good to
Very good.
serve
I
you.
just listened to your motivational speech, and I like it. And I would like to make some comments on it also.
Definitely, Daji.
And dear Anjali, as usual, Aparna, thank you, and very happy joining you on a very special day, Teachers' Day. Beautiful.
We have several thousand teachers who have joined us through YouTube and Zoom links, Daji.
Uh,
Uh, we would be really fortunate if you could share your thoughts with us on this joyful occasion of Teachers' Day.
that's why I'm here.
Please.
No,
We are all very eager. Sorry.
thank you. Today has been a very sad day for me. Not because it's Teachers' Day, but because one of my most motivational person in life, a spiritual teacher you may call, or a preceptor you may call, though he was not my guru, but he played a part as if he was a guru kind of a thing, because this system belongs to a very ancient yogic tradition where there's a one person called guru, and he trains others who are like him, who can work like him, lead a life like him, and achieve the potential that he managed to achieve during his lifetime. Most people, successful people, they try to achieve it in a very early age. very early age. Exceptionally, as Sister Sandhya was mentioning, Ford, Gandhi, KFC, Penn, this Sanders. And another example she quoted that they achieved something later in their life, post 50s or 60s. But why do you want to wait that long? When we give examples of this sort to children, children will say, oh, I have a long life. I'll start my education at 50, or I'll muscle up my girdles and then I'll start studying after that. No. Many people also give the example of Apple CEO who passed on a few years back, Steve Jobs. They also give the example Microsoft leader, what's his name, Mr. Bill Gates. Both of them, they never completed their education completely. Right? And some teachers, they give example of these two guys and the students will laugh and say, ma'am or my dear teacher, they didn't complete their degree course. Circumstances often, or the destiny as we call it, leads us in a very mysterious way. Though destiny plays a big role in our lives, we are also the creator of our destiny through this free will. Now, if a destiny takes your child, I'm talking about your child, if you were in a small village or in you have a half a dozen schools in your neighborhood, which school would you prefer to send your child to? How would you decide? Would you send your child to a teacher who teaches like you and lives a life like you, whose thoughts are like yours? Think over it. If you dare not send a child, your child, to someone who thinks like you and works like you, whose ethics are like yours, you will not send them. You will say, oh, he's like me, corrupt, not so good. So we have to elevate our levels, our ethical level, to a higher status. We have to upgrade ourselves to a higher level. And please don't wait till you're 15 and 60s. It has to be done today, because you don't know when life will go. It can happen any minute. Lord of Death is not going to give you a 1 year time and say, henceforth 1 year from now, I'll come and pick you up. What would you do for 1 year? Suppose someone gives you a warning that your time is ending. How will you spend that 1 year? We don't even get a 1 day warning or 1 hour warning. We are just picked up, sniff, and you're gone. So wiser people say that don't wait till you act until the last moment of frustration comes. Students, we were all students once upon a time, and we continue to be students if we are wiser. If only teachers consider themselves as eternal students, then the education will drastically change overnight. It is when we start thinking that, oh, I have learned, I am learned, I know everything, that's when we stop learning new things. And the day when we stop learning new things, that will be the end of our personal growth. Children of this generation, born sometime after 2003, children born between 1990 and 2003, children born between 1980s and let us say 90s and before that, there is a drastic difference in their mental attitude and emotional well-being. Earlier, your father would say or your mother would say, do this, you will do it. Today's generation, even a 3-year-old child or 2-year-old child, you will be conversing with that child. child will not be paying attention to you. Have you noticed? They listen to you, every word you speak, but they'll turn their head towards you only when they want to do. Their mind, their emotion responses are so different. So I cannot be teaching with the same mental attitude that I used to have in teaching in 80s and 90s. It will have to be changed. I think we'll have to upgrade ourselves with that background in mind that these children are different. What works with these children? We have to find out what works. We can share those information when you find that what works with them and what really does not work. You push them around, they're not going to listen to you. But create an example that works. Give them a project. They love such words, project, sense of teamwork. They would love that. And they will come up and say, yes, this is what we have done so far. So we have to be on constant vigilance and constantly improving our approaches towards the children. See? All of us, including children, without an exception, including the animals and birds, we need some level of comfort, some level of happiness, some level of peace. This is our basic requirement. On this basic requirement, we paint the canvas of our life. How do you want to print it? The whole day I spent thinking of my teacher miserably. I could have done this, I should have done that. Many things came up to my mind. How could I have saved his life? How could I have associated myself even more intimately with such teachers? You don't cry every day for teachers dying, but there are one or two that will touch your heart, and they remain ingrained not only for this life, but you will wish that such teachers are there always, life after life. When such teachers are there, then you will not have the desire, oh, I don't want to be born again, or I don't want to come back again, or this or that. This idea of liberation will go away altogether. When you're happy, when your parents are great, your teachers are great, when your family background is so great, your friends are great, that itself is something better than liberation. See? The spiritual ethos we all talk about. Most of these approaches are arising out of frustrations in life. If life was great, why would you think of liberation? Something to think about. Also, as I posed you a question earlier, would you send your child to a teacher who is your replica? Think over it, adjust your lifestyle, and always look for a solution. For example, when I say I like to see harmony within me, I like to see happiness in my life, I like to be at peace with myself, only then such things will be radiating from me. Teaching is one thing. It is extraordinary, no doubt. If you aspired from your early childhood and say, wow, I would love to be a teacher, you're passionate about that profession, or are you because government pays you well, but most of you are from private institution, if I'm not mistaken. There is a different carrot in front of your nose. You dare not say or criticize a teacher from government institutions. There are exceptions, exceptionally great people, by and large, very disappointing. It's not a great statement to make from my side. It is tragic, actually. I feel sad when we have to talk like this. But always looking for a solution that how can I be happy, how can I be at peace, and how can I remain inspired all the time? How can I become passionate? I may not have that passion to teach. Maybe my circumstances led me to this profession because of helplessness, perhaps. Because I have nothing else to do, so I became a teacher, perhaps. In my case, I wanted to become a doctor. And when I didn't get the admission, and my father would not send me out of state, out of Gujarat, he said, no, you cannot go. Though I had admission in other colleges out of state. So I ended up becoming a pharmacist. Did I like to become a pharmacist? No, because my passion was to become a doctor. But then later on, when I started practicing pharmacy, I became very successful in that profession. Something that for which I had no passion, no liking, but circumstances forced me into it and became very successful. Truly, more than a dream fulfillment, actually. And similar thing can be achieved because I had a personality of that caliber who could create such interest in my heart. And all I can say today is what I am today is all because of meditation under Heartfulness way. Meditation has revolutionized my personal life, professional life. And what I am today in spiritual arena within myself is all because of this single thing, meditation. If you see Vedas and Upanishads, read them thoroughly. You read Gita thoroughly. None of this literature talks about looking for God outside. They all talk about dhyan, meditation. Well, dhyan and meditation, though they're very closely related, but loosely translated from dhyan into meditations. We will not go into that at the moment. But when you see, when you read Gita carefully, and when Lord Krishna gives the Vishwarup darshan to Arjuna, who was so frustrated and confused before making a right decision with full confidence, he was able to convince him that it is good to perform one's own duty. He also lectures him not to worry about fulfilling others' duties, because primarily you are born to fulfill your duty first. Even if you perform somebody else's duty very well, it is still not coming to its highest level. So fulfill your own personal dharma towards yourself. When after receiving that Vishwarup darshan, Arjun asks, I am so fortunate. How will people, general public, general mass, can approach you, my Lord? His language changes. If you see after some adhyay, from friends, he's addressing earlier him like my bhratra or my elder brother or my friends. Now he addresses him as my Lord after the revelation. How can they achieve it? What I have been gifted with, the Lord Krishna tells him very simply, they can achieve me, they can become one with me by finding myself in their heart. Very simple prescription. And this solves everything. How can I sleep better when I have not performed my dharma well? What is my dharma of the day? What I was supposed to do? Did you perform it well? If it is not done well, then two things can happen. If you are a very conscientious person, you'll worry about it. Oh, my Lord, please forgive me. I missed out on this opportunity. Or if you are like most of other people, you'll say, oh, to hell with this. I have nothing to worry. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe after some time, or maybe after 60 years, I'll do that. That will be a tragedy. Can't postpone most vital thing. Imagine Arjun telling Lord Krishna, after 20 years, we'll have this Mahabharata. What would have happened then, see? So critical decisions have to be made and implemented the same time frame. See, you can't have a time gap. Longer the time gap, you have wasted your potential. Shorter the time gap, almost where your crystallization in your mind of some idea and the action says no more time gaps. See. Then such a person becomes very effective. Meditation is all about facing yourself also. When you close your eyes and meditate and try to invite Lord or try to feel the presence of the Lord in your heart. In the beginning, you'll have a lot of thoughts. But your mind is not well trained. It's like a monkey mind. See? Keeps jumping from one thought to another thought. That has to be regulated over a period of time. It becomes our second nature to remain still. We can order our mind to what to think and how it can rest upon one particular idea until that idea is resolved. See. You can do a lot of multitasking also if your mind is well settled. But what to do when the mind is jumping from one project to another, one thought to another project, one idea to another? There will be a pile of unfulfilled desires, unresolved ideals, unresolved principles. Then life becomes chaotic, see, full of chaos. There won't be peace. So meditation forewarns us that don't do this. And this forewarning comes out of the sensitization of our consciousness. The conscience is so sensitized that in the beginning you might end up doing certain things wrong. See? But then as this sensitization happens and you become more conscientious, even before you think it starts hurting you. Oh, I can't handle this thought. I can't handle this action. And you'll stop. Automatically you will stop as you become more and more conscious. This is again a result of well-done meditation. There are meditations and meditation. They differ from each other. But the meditation where you can instantly go into samadhi in spite of yourself, in spite of our weaknesses, in spite of our problems that we entertain in our minds, at least temporarily, with the help of a guru who has the capacity to transmit and change our consciousness from one level to another level, then that meditation can be a unique one, that I was able to meditate despite of myself, despite of my problems. In fact, it helped in resolving my problem. Then such meditations can make us something. Meditation should not be done because it has become a habit, or it has become a habit out of fear. I used to feel like that, when I was a child, my father used to teach me how to do namaskaram and lit up a deepam and lit up some incense sticks and recite some slokas. It was a very regular affair in our house. But the day I would skip because of some whatever be the circumstances or reasons, I will not feel good because fear would take over. Oh, I didn't do, and this fear will grip me so much that even in the school, I would remember, oh, I didn't do this today, I didn't do this today. Maybe God will punish me. So, this worshipping should not be because you're afraid. It should not be because you want something out of this process. No. It should be pure love for the sake of love. In the beginning, I may not be fully aware of this concept of love for the sake of love. But this idea must emerge that why in the world, why should I be afraid of my own goal, of my beloved? If Lord is your beloved, why be afraid? Why do you think that He's going to punish us? Nobody punishes us. It's only us with wrong ideas, wrong notions, wrong actions. We punish ourselves. But God is not interested in punishing us. In fact, God provides, creates circumstances for us so that we take the right steps, right actions. So on this Teachers' Day, I encourage all teachers to meditate. Not for the sake of students or not for the sake of your family, but for yourself. Become someone. Don't postpone it. Don't fall into this trap of Sandhya's advice that you can achieve it after you're 60. To be suicidal. Don't tell your teachers, your students, that Steve Jobs did it, though he was a dropout. Will give wrong ideas. Imagine if he had studied and achieved degree, how good he could have been otherwise. If he could achieve so much just by remaining a dropout, imagine if he had a degree or some basic engineering background. He could have developed a better product. So thank you all. It's already half hour. Time flies. And thank you for your patient listening, and may God bless all of us so that one day we can become that ocean of purity and ocean of love that God is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Soon I have another session in few minutes, so you'll have to excuse me. If you like, you can have a short meditation though for about 15 minutes. Is it okay?
Yes, Daji,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. Anjali, would you do me a favor? There may be many people who may not be knowing how to relax and how to meditate. Would you walk them through in 3 minutes? And after 3 minutes, you say, please start. I'll be working, but I have to go. I'll meditate with you all. And after 15 minutes, you, on my behalf, say that's all.
Okay, Daji, I'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I request everyone in the audience.
May I request you to take a leave? I have to attend another session. It has been started there.
Okay. Sure, Pranji.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanji.
Thank you.
So I request all the dear teachers, all of y'all in the audience, to please let's go through a short session of meditation. So first we'll do a relaxation, and thereafter we'll do a meditation. just listen to the instructions that are being given, to the suggestions that are being given, and follow it accordingly. You will definitely have a beautiful experience of meditation. So I request everyone to sit very comfortably and close your eyes very softly and very gently. Let's begin with our toes. Wiggle your toes and now feel them relax. Feel a relaxing energy move up through your feet, your ankles, your calves, right up to your knees. Relax all the muscles in your thighs. Relax your hips, your stomach, your abdomen, and deeply relax your waist. Very gently move your awareness to your back. From the top to the bottom, your entire back is now completely relaxed. Relax your chest and shoulders. Feel your shoulders are simply melting away. Relax your upper arms. Your forearms, your hands, right up to your fingertips. Relax all the muscles in your neck. Very gently move your awareness to your head. Relax your jaw and your chin. Relax all the muscles in your mouth. Relax your nose, your cheeks, your facial muscles, muscles in your eyes, your eyebrows, your forehead, your earlobes, all the muscles in your scalp, right up to the roots of your hair. Experience how your entire body is now completely relaxed. Very gently move your awareness to your heart. Give a suggestion that the source of divine light is already present in your heart and it is attracting you from within. Feel immersed in the love and light present in your heart. If thoughts come, simply ignore them and treat them as uninvited guests. If your mind wanders, remind yourself that there's divine light in your heart and come back. Give all these suggestions very, very gently. Stay like this with your eyes closed for a little while until you hear the suggestion. That's all. Please start meditation. That's all. Keep your eyes closed and take a few moments to think about what you just experienced during meditation. How were you feeling before? What happened during meditation? And most importantly, how are you feeling now? Take a few moments to think about all this. When you feel ready to, you can very gently open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Anjali. Dear friends, this brings us to the end of this seminar. We would like to thank all of you to be those who were part of this webinar. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Daji. Thank you, esteemed panelists, to be part of this webinar today. Until next time, it's goodbye from all of us. Please accept our heartful wishes to you all on this Teachers' Day, and hope you all have a lovely evening ahead. Thank you so much.
We'd like to tell them about two events actually that are coming up. One is our International Peace Day, which is on 21st of September. We have some very important luminaries from this field joining us. Mr. Deepak Chopra, BK Shivani, and Dr. Bruce Lipton, amongst others. So please do register and join us. It's going to be a lovely event. There's another very important event that we would like all of you as educators, this is especially for us as educators. We are having an online virtual national conference, and it's titled Values Today, Civilization Tomorrow, because it's the values we instill today which will determine what the civilization will be tomorrow. And this is going to be on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of October 2020. And we have many luminaries from the field of education as speakers, presenters, and panelists. So please do attend. Many of you all have already submitted your research papers. Others do register and participate. It's going to be a very enlightening and lovely conference. So hope to see all of you there. Yes, so I think with that, we can end today's proceedings. And it's please, as Aparna said, accept our heartful wishes on this Teachers' Day, and we hope you have a lovely evening ahead. Thank you all panelists.
Thank you, Aparna. Thank you very much.